नमस्कार सिलिगुडी। हिजो एउटा अंग्रेजी पुस्तकको विमोचन भयो। यसका लेखक हुनुहुन्छ डाक्टर विशाल गोले, जो यहाँ प्रसिद्ध किडनीका डाक्टर हुनुहुन्छ। उहाँले आफ्नो व्यस्त जीवनमा पनि 2 घण्टा भने लेख्न र पढ्नमा दिनुहुन्छ र उहाँकै मुखारबिन्दबाट सुनियो। 2 घण्टा उहाँले दिनमा पढ्न लेख्न दिनुहुन्छ अनि उहाँले यो पुस्तक 9वटा स्टोरिजहरू 9 स्टोरिज भन्ने पुस्तक लेख्नु भएको छ। यो साँच्चै नै रोचक छ। अमेजनमा धेरै यसको बिक्री भइरहेको पनि हामीले जानकारी पायौं र त्यसैका केही झलकहरू म हजुरहरू समक्ष राख्न गइरहेछु। आशा छ हजुरहरूलाई मन पर्नेछ।
The quote goes like this: and those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane. And those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who couldn't hear the music. So the authors, we generally are seen as, most of the times, crazy fellows. The society is running in one direction, crazy after these days digital world, mobile phones, shopping plazas, blah blah blah. And writers crazily sitting in the corner of his home or her home, jotting down, and irrespective of whether there is a reader or not at all. So today is the evening of cherishing this moment of transformation of how does a doctor turns not only in Siliguri but also in entire India with his tremendously wonderful papers. He has published many papers in national and international forums in his own field, that is the medical science, which is the most challenging field. Happened to scroll, and while scrolling my own piece, Public Nama, which we used to utilize for intellectual activities while we were passing through this COVID syndrome, COVID-19, the public, various fields who delivered their virtual talks on various kinds of topics. So Dr. Goley, I approached him for the first time for that talk. And I requested him that please speak for at least 40 minutes, 1 hour. That was the proper given time for this talk. So we also used to have topic for that particular talk.
And also Raja Daju, how did he manage to take out time? Because I know he's seeing patients till midnight. So it's a wonderful journey that he has undertaken, and it's great that all of us could make time to be here in his journey. Now I would like to invite eminent personalities who are guests of honor today. Dr. Sonam B. Wongil, eminent historian and author of Sikkim and Darjeeling and several other bestsellers, upon the stage, please. Mr. R.K. Jain, businessman, philanthropist, on the stage, please. Padma Shri Dr. Eklavya Sharma, eminent scientist. Mr. Harish Moktan Allare, may I request the applause to keep going as we felicitate our guests of honor. Thank you very much.
Dr. Goley sir, उहाँको परिश्रमबाट आफ्नै हुन्छन् सर र आज यो कुरा सुने मैले र उहाँले बोल्नु भएको थियो आएँ र मैले के भन्नु भने यस्तो ठुलो अगस्त यो मञ्चमा उहाँको भाग लिँदै म केही भन्न चाहन्छु। मेरो आफ्नो कुरा भन्छु। म आगो, हामी तामाङबाट आगो भने काका बाबु काका बाबुको असीम आशीर्वाद हाम्रो छोरो डाक्टर विशाल गोलीलाई मेरो आशीर्वाद दिन्छ आशीर्वाद। So I asked Dr. Vishal, can you tell me something about your childhood, about your love story and all? He said, tell whatever you know. So here I am to introduce him in my own way. So ladies and gentlemen, bookworms and literary enthusiasts, gather round for a tale that would make even Shakespeare say, now there is a twist in the plot. Today, we are diving into a curious case of Dr. Vishal Goley, a man who went from examining kidneys to examining the human condition. Talk about a career change that would make Dr. Watson switching to detective work look positively mundane. Our story begins in the far land of a serene place, Gangtok, in the year 1980. Picture, if you can, a bouncing boy, baby boy born with a stethoscope in one hand and a pen in the other. Little did his parents know they had just welcomed the medical world's answer to Clark Kent. Young Visal, much like a character from a Disney movie, grew up in a fantastical world of love, care, and an alarming obsession with report cards. He topped his school exams with such regularity that one might suspect he has a magic wand hidden in his sleeves. When faced with the age-old dilemma of choosing between medicine and engineering, young Visal did what any self-respecting protagonist will do: ask his mother. And so the fate of countless kidneys was sealed then. Our hero then embarked on a quest worthy of the Lord of Rings, if Frodo has been really into medicine. He journeyed from Puducherry to Chandigarh to Kolkata, collecting degrees, MBBS, MD, DM like Pokemon cards. By 2013, Goley, apart from being a loving husband to his wife Mita and a father of two wonderful kids, has transformed into Siliguri's very own kidney whisperer. Look at his life and say, you know what this medical drama needs? A plot twist. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to welcome Dr. Vishal Goley to the world of literature, a world where the pains are mightier than the scalpels, where the only organs we dissect are the hearts of our readers, and where the only fruits we concern ourselves with are the ink and the coffee. In conclusion, let us raise our imaginary appeal to Dr. Goley. May his stories be gripping as John Grisham novel, and may his characters be as complex as Rubik's Cube. Here's to a man who proves that it's never too late to start a new chapter of life. Thank you, and remember, stay hydrated. Your kidneys and your future best-selling author will always have
a short review of this book. I feel I have to give you some backstory as to how I met Dr. Goley, and better still, how I met Mrs. Goley. So I met Mita Di back in 2018 at a Toastmasters meeting. At that time, she asked me if I could fix their car. That was the first one. Fast forward to 2024, and her question was if I could fix her husband's book. So two diverse aspects are really fulfilled by the same person. My name is Zabir. I am a jack of many trades. I wear many hats, and among them, writing and editing I consider to be my forte. When Mita D requested me if I could look at the book, I was more than happy to. In fact, I was privileged. I knew that the content of this book is going to be great. Why? Because I had listened into the talk that Mr. Puniani was mentioning, that Dr. Goley had delivered back in 2020 when COVID-19 was raging in all its might. What resonated with me was the fact that he spoke about evolution and he spoke about humans as a mere species, not as the groups that we have put humans into. We have spent much time and effort in categorizing people based on nationality, on religion, on linguistic identities. But we are no more than the cousin of a chimpanzee. I feel all of these groupings, all of these categorizations are nothing but putting too much meaning into the mundane. Rather, if we look at where we came from, about where we are possibly heading, we realize that we are not really as big a deal as we make it seem. Coming back to the book at hand, The Nine, I enjoyed the editing as much as I enjoyed putting in my critique. And among all the stories, I'm going to share with you a little bit about the one that resonated with me most. This story was about a scrap dealer called Bulla. Bulla comes to Sir's clinic with an attitude of his own, and unlike most patients who tend to be a little demure or who mostly maintain their calm, Bulla was this absolute raging character. Bulla's first statement is, "I've come to you, Dr. Goley, because there was no other option in town." It's much like how we possibly be condescending towards somebody who's perhaps lesser than us. He manages to keep his calm. Later, when he's undergoing dialysis sessions, Bulla has the pluck to smuggle in mutton curry into the dialysis ward. The nurses were being given a hard time. He had a foul temper. His vocabulary wasn't the best. So they called out to Mr. Goley and said, "We have a situation at hand." He goes up to Bulla and tells Bulla in as condescending a tone to shut up. Bulla is taken aback and then he proceeds to say, "Okay, you may have a little bit of the mutton. I mean, the steamed fish and the egg that the hospital provides, it's going to be a tad boring." Later, or rather a few years later, Bulla happens to have a fall and he fractures both his legs. He is with the orthopedist, but Bulla refuses to go into surgery without first speaking to his nephrologist. Why? Because he thinks that the orthopedist is a thick-headed scumbag who's probably out to perhaps not give him what is accorded. So, why is Bulla agitated? And this part actually was very emotionally touching, because Bulla was worried that if he goes into the operation theatre, who's going to look after his customers?
Many of us desire to be a published author, including me. But the thought of sitting down and actually writing a book can be quite repulsive. Most writers isolate themselves for months, sometimes years, and finally come up with a bestseller. And after all that isolation, they turn into a social animal, let's say, promoting the books and having launch parties like this. So, Dr. Goley's debut as a writer, I believe in this context, is nothing short of a miracle, because like we all know, he works 15, 16 hours a day and finds the time to write a beautiful book. This, I believe, is a testament to his dedication for his medical profession, as well as his passion for writing.
I would like to congratulate Dr. Goley for compiling this beautiful collection of stories, which we're going to review tonight. And let me also say that, unlike Zabir, who had known Dr. Goley for a few years, tonight is for the very first time that Dr. Goley and I have met in person. In fact, we did not even exchange one word during this whole process of editing. Except, of course, the scribblings and the observation on the side which I sent it to him, and then we look at it. This is not the way of how authors and editors work. But Dr. Goley did not give me an opportunity to call him up and seek for some clarity in his stories. His language was lucid. So I really didn't have a problem understanding not just the story, but also the thought behind the story, what he wanted to actually say, but without.
Tell me, what makes my journey across the desert? Hunger and pain unheeding too, with calluses on my feet and longing in my heart, not knowing who still awaits at the end of the desert. Shams looks lovingly and says, "It's the journey, my love, that's divine." So this was the poem which I had written for one of my stories, and my wife thought that this was a verse taken out from Rumi, so she couldn't have given me a better compliment. And so while I read this poem was, it's the journey that's more important, and whether the book is well received, that's a secondary output of whatever I had written for the last few years. And this journey has been really interesting. I got to read, I got to learn about so many other things in life other than just pursuing your profession. And a lot of things that I didn't understand before, I had begun to understand. It's not possible to understand the human condition, but we can always make attempts. So, as was introduced by my dear brother, Dr. Kirana, my journey began in Sikkim in 1980, and my parents, who are seated here in the front row, have shaped the way in which I look at life. They have never put any restrictions to what I do and what I pursue in life, and that has given me a freedom of thought for which I'm so indebted to them. This has led me to pursue so many things in life which I wouldn't have been doing if they would have acted like a typical Indian parent. So this is how I came into writing, and it also has allowed me to explore the world, to travel the world and see all the wonders that is there for us to experience. And with every travel, I tend to find that the world is much bigger than what we anticipate for ourselves, and it is not us that is the center of the universe. It's the whole universe that's out there, and we are just a speck, and we fail to understand that simple logic. The second half of my life has been shaped and supported by my dear wife, who is actually, as I always tell her, the wind beneath my wings. She has supported me, and although she keeps away from all the attention, but she is the invisible strength that has kept me afloat. And as a father, I have always tried to imbibe this inquisitiveness and curiosity about the world, and I've tried to pass it on to my dear sons who are also here. And I hope that they carry on the curiosity that has been instilled into me. Along the way, I have been supported by a lot of my dear friends and colleagues, many of them who are here, and I'm both old and new, and also my extended family who have been my pillars. And to come to the book, I'm very thankful to all the dignitaries and senior personalities, many of whom I've been meeting for the first time today. I'm meeting for the first time, and they have taken out all the time and on this busy day, and especially during the weekday, to come and celebrate this book with me. Actually, the thing is that all of us have our own interests in life. Many of whom would not write, they have their own interests. Even if they are pursuing a particular career, they have their own interests. Only thing is that we have to get out of the box and pursue it and get on with it. If you want to write, you write. If you want to sing, you sing. And that's how we can complete the package of life and lead life as it should be led. And as I always feel that everybody has their own stories. Even a person doesn't know that they possess a story or two, something which they have seen. Some of these stories are within our own self, do not tell them. Some of these stories should not be told. And there are some stories which you should always tell to others, because these stories tend to give inspiration and give hope to people who don't have one. And also bring out into light the stories of people who are dealing with conditions in which we tend to avoid looking at all those things. So I feel that these stories will bring out the condition of human life, how the human spirit is unbeatable, how the human stories spirit fight against all the odds, and then they try to come out victorious. Many of the time the victory is in the form of philosophical defeat. Many of the time the victory is in the form of survival. So it's how you define victory and how you define the end of life that is important.
has written the book titled The 9 Stories of Asymptotic Lives, bearing ISBN 978-81-972-794-23, and has been published by BukAnt in September 2024. In that enchanted realm where words metamorphose into symphonies, the brilliance of our beloved author's pen has orchestrated a masterpiece. We encourage our author to continue marching ahead in the world of words and enlightening the world with new vigor and visions in the days to come. Wishing you good health and a more creative life ahead. Sincerely yours, signed by Mr. Puniani, the director of BukAnt, and Mr. Suraj Gurung, director of the
Cafe The Twins at Medipari Salwari. It's a literary space where we also host a lot of literary events, book launches, and short and storytelling sessions for kids too. So with that short introduction about myself, I would like to first of all thank BukAnt Publications and Raja sir, and also Suraj Da for giving me this opportunity. In fact, it is an honor and it is also a pleasure. I would like to congratulate sir for your new book, your debut anthology, The 9, and also congratulate you on the new role that you have undertaken, as rightly pointed by Raja sir, the dog author. So, with this, I would like to ask my first question. When I came across the book, what I found very striking is not only the title, but as well as the tagline of the book, Stories of Asymptotic Lives. I think you've already mentioned about it, what it means and what it refers to, but as it relates, have you used it in the context of death? You know, because what I found while reading the book is that most of the characters in the story are not death, but they are prone to death. Yeah. So that the impending danger of death is constantly hovering in their lives. So what is your take on this, and is my perception about asymptotic lives correct? So as a reader, I just want to ask this question to you.
So across all the philosophies in the world, including religious and non-religious philosophies, we tend to imagine that freedom from the pain is the main goal. So if you look at the Buddhist philosophy, it is the concept of nirvana, and if you look at the Oriental philosophy, it's like moksha, all those things. So I feel that when a human being is surviving, it's always his target that he should be gaining freedom from all sorts of pain, all sorts of problems, maybe freedom from death, or maybe freedom to lead into a better afterlife. So all those things are usually the things that the human beings strive for. But again, nothing can be perfect, and that's how we are rudely reminded by the various ailments and various diseases that we face, especially the ones that are terminal, means that it will lead to your death. And when you are leading a part of your life, especially the first half of a young life, imagining all these things that life will be perfect, it's always a rude shock that you come across something that will kill you eventually. And that's what an asymptote represents in the story, that we are all trying to find out that perfect place, but we are pulled back by something which does not allow it. But we are still trying. That still trying, and that persistence to survive and persistence to lead a better life with whatever we have. That's the thing that I wanted to represent by this term.
Mike.
Hello. Oh, so the undying human spirit, or the undying nature of the human spirit. Yes. And coming to the connections, you have, I think you've already talked about that also in your speech, that why did you choose 9 stories, or why did you want to keep the title as the 9 and not 10, or so on and so forth. But my question to you is, as in your journey as a medical practitioner, I think you have come across hundreds and hundreds of stories. So why did you select these 9 stories specifically? So is there any specific reason behind selecting these 9 stories?
Yeah, so there is a lot of similarity in what these people go through in all these stories, even though it might be, when I've written it down, it might represent a story of a particular individual, but it's an amalgamation of a lot of different incidents that happens with different people, and I've tried to pin them down in a single story. But again, it's not possible to write too many stories, because that will again be the main reason why it was written down. But these stories these are almost like a real life incidents which I have come across over a period of my practice, and over a period of multiple periods of time. And at that particular point in time, these people have inspired me, and it has left an indelible mark into how I think and what I perceive about life. But yeah, even though I wanted to write more, but I tried to concentrate all the different stories that I have come across, and it's not just 9 stories, it has subset of stories of different parts, and they have been pulled down to a single story. Later on we can publish it as a book. So since you have asked me a very difficult question as to what I like about it, let me read a few lines. Another person which I included in this book. So this is again a quote from Rumi. So as you have been mentioning Rumi all this while. So I'm not this hair, I'm not this skin, I'm the soul that lives within. He recalled reading this Persian quote in the college library during his engineering studies. but Suman was losing pieces of his soul in painful installments with each passing day. So this is particularly the line which I have been always thinking about, because people who are living a borrowed time, they always have this problem with them, that they tend to lose themselves with each passing day. So someone whom you meet 5 years before, and if that patient has had a terminal illness, and you meet that person 5 years down the line, that person does not remain that person which you had met before. So if the person is not capable of facing that condition, they will lose a part of it, and they just remain a reflection of what they were before before they had that problem. And this particular line, I really like this line, because this actually shows how many of the people, what happens to many of these people when they have this problem.
Mrs. Srijana Subba, reviewer of the Nine, and she's also a poet of Fikta Chair Poetry on Darjeeling Tea, and also the founder of the Book Thief Open Library in Nagari, Darjeeling. Dr. Kilanath Sharma, reviewer of the Nine, who is also a poet and an author. Ms. Shriparna Chetri, the artist of the Nine. All the illustrations that you see in the book is by Ms. Shriparna. And Mr. Suraj Guru, the graphic designer and also the director of BukAnt Publications. And also Mr. Raja Puniani, the director of BukAnt. May I request you to please come up on the stage.
Where is Raja?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, everyone.
He need only find a patch of clean earth, crawl there, and let the sun shine on him, by Franz Kafka. No man is all-knowing, all-powerful, or all-conquering. But what he is capable of knowing and conquering all that he can. In this, a father's role is to push his children to know and conquer a bigger world than his. Or one might say, to find a bigger patch of earth than him. And my father, an inspiration to all and to me, has made this job quite difficult for me. A parent's struggle, emotionally and philosophically, is often kept aside and overlooked by the children. But this book has allowed me to take a look, not at my father, but at Dr. Visal Goley as a person and as an individual, and how he not only helps and heals his patients, but also how he understands and empathizes with them at a deeper level, and how he has understood the human condition. At a hospital or in any part of the world, a stranger is often just a face, just another name, but the Nine humanizes and acquaints us with the characters in the story and elucidates how each person has their own struggles, their own pains, their own afflictions, and how each life is a microcosm of its own. So I would like to thank Team BukAnt and everyone else involved for helping my father express his thoughts and ideas and put it into a form and take his first steps.
Yeah, and myself, we both got a little teary-eyed, but the night has to move on. So even though towards the end of the day, I would still like to welcome each one of you and thank each of you from the bottom of my heart for being here, for contributing your time and your, for being here so patiently and listening to all this, because like he said, this is completely new. This is a completely alien concept for us, because this is not how meetings and parties were supposed to be for us. So thank you again. Dr. Visal Goley's maiden venture into writing a book has been quite a journey. For all those who know him, he is notoriously famous for burning the midnight oil. But this has taken him beyond. I've seen him completely immerse into those stories and I've seen its characters come alive. I'd also like to give a pat on my back because I was on the first line of firing. Meaning I had to read and reread and listen to hours of endless one-sided conversations. Well, on a serious note, I love the persistence and perseverance that he exhibits when he chases something that he truly desires. So I don't really mind all those hours we spent because something so beautiful and meaningful has come out of it. Now, scene 2. The book is ready for release. The next brainstorming session was about how we should go about with the book launch. Who all should we invite? How big or how small the event should be? All such doubts started hovering in our minds. But then it struck us, why not? They are family and friends after all. Why do we need to hesitate to celebrate? We wanted to share our happiness because this is a big achievement for him. This is sharing his learnings from his patients over the years. This is sharing the power of hope that triumphs over odds of life. And of course, this is a long cherished trait and we are immensely grateful that each one of you took time out of your busy schedules to be with us today. Thank you, all our guests of honor for tonight, for gracing the occasion with your presence. It really means to the parents, Mrs. Karuna Goley and Mr. C.V. Goley, for shaping the person that Dr. Goley is today. A big thank you to the entire BukAnt team. Every member has so lovingly contributed into making this book a success. How can we miss out to mention Dr. Kilanath for all the guidance?